Hey everyone, it's Kelsey. Welcome back to my channel and welcome to this reading vlog. I have been terrible with reading books that are actually on my TBR, like on my Goodreads TBR. I always like stumble upon new books and then read those, which is fine, but this year I really want to make it a goal of mine to like actually read the books on my TBR, so I decided I was gonna do a little video challenge, maybe series. I don't know what I'm gonna call it. Maybe like thinning the TBR. I have no idea, but I figured I'm gonna do little challenges with my Goodreads list to make it into like a little game. So the first thing I decided to do was read the oldest books on my TBR. So for oldest, for me, I don't mean like oldest like by publishing date. I mean the oldest based on the date that I added them to the Goodreads list, if that makes sense. So on Goodreads you can filter by different things, and one of them is like date added, and you can go like most recent to oldest. So I went to oldest. I'm obviously discounting any books that are like part of series that like either I'm not like there at the series yet for whatever reason, or because I think I added like some series like the second one before the first. I don't know, it's a little whack. And then if there's books that I am going to read for the purposes of another video I have planned, I kind of like jumped over those. So the oldest, not the oldest, but one of the oldest books on my TBR that I chose for this first book to read for this video is The Wrath and the Dawn by Renee Ahdieh. I added this book to my want to read on March 7th, 2015. It's 2025. And it's past March. So it's April now. So it took me 10 years, almost exactly, to read this book. Like to pick this book up. That's a little crazy. That's a whole decade, and that's why I wanted to do this. So I am reading that now. I am 43% of the way through it. I think I'm like on page 117. It's really good so far. Actually, I'm probably further than 117 now. Let me look. Might be like 158. I read a lot of it yesterday. 178. I'm almost halfway through. It's really good so far. I'm really liking it. I see why I added it on the TBR, because it's like an enemies to lovers, like hate to love, like I presume romance. I probably knew this at the time of adding it, but then have since forgotten it in the decade it's been. But it's inspired by, and it's like a retelling of the Arabian Nights like tale, but it's like the whole tale that there was like this king that killed all of his wives and he'd have a new wife every day, but then the one girl that he marries, who I think might actually have the same name, her name is Shazi in this, but I think she might actually have the same name in the original. I've not read the original text, but I know about it. But so she starts telling him stories and he ends up keeping her alive because he wants to hear the stories, and she just weaves like a longer and longer tale, and she like combines a bunch of stories together, and I think she survives like 1,000 nights, and that's why it's called 1,000 Nights, I believe. I really want to read that. Or is it called 1,000 Nights or Arabian Nights? I don't know. I think maybe there's multiple names for it. We briefly touched on this in a class that I took. That's why I'm trying to like pull things from my brain and my memory from this. So I don't know if I'm explaining this 100% correct, but it's based off of that. I do want to read the actual story that this is based off of, because it sounded really interesting when I was learning about it in school. So I do want to pick that up eventually, but I just totally forgot that this was based off of that or inspired by that, obviously. I added it in 2015, so I forgot. But I'm really loving that, and because I have kind of the background of that story, it makes for a more enriching reading experience for me. Like, it's very fun. I will say that I do think I don't know if it's the writing style or just like the story, it is a little like hard to read at some points. Like some points go by really fast and you're really like in the story, and it's like, you know, you're in it. It's a nice like fantasy, but some points it's like I almost zone out while reading. Can't put my finger on what it is. I would say that's my only complaint about it, is that it's like I find myself like having to reread a lot of sentences or paragraphs because I either zone out or I like read the whole paragraph and I'm like, wait, what? I have no idea what you just said, which is weird for me for young adult. I'm pretty sure it's a young adult. But yeah, I find myself being confused. I don't know if I was just really like kind of out of it yesterday. I read a lot of it yesterday, like after my Pilates class. So granted, I might have just been tired. Not really sure. But overall, I'm really liking it. I really like the characters so far. And I really like the love story. I say it's a love story. It kind of is now. I mean, we know that's where it's going. Yeah, and I can definitely see why it's popular. It's just a classic, like, enemies to lovers, hate to love, like, sort of thing. She goes, I guess I should explain to you, because I explained to you guys that it's based off, like, Arabian Nights or 1,000 Nights, whatever that is. Again, I think there's multiple names, but basically the premise is one of the king's wives was Shazi's best friend, Shiva, and he killed her, and so Shazi volunteers to marry the king. She agrees to marry the king because she wants to kill him to get revenge for her friend, and because she's sick of him obviously killing, like, marrying women and killing them. So there's that going on, and I love a good, like, I'm here to assassinate you and I hate you but then I actually fall in love with you sort of thing. Like, that eats every time. There's some magical elements in this story too, like there's a curse put on either him or his family, I don't think we know yet, where there's a reason that he's forced to kill a woman every night, and it's actually to protect his kingdom. That's all we know. Like, they haven't told us why really, or what the circumstances are, so that's kind of all we know so far, but I'm really liking it so far. I'm excited to finish it. I'm really glad that this is the first one I picked up because I'm reading Lovely War, is that what it is? Lovely War for another video I'm doing, and that book is so, like, heavy. Lyrically beautiful, but it's, like, work to read, so I really wanted something that was, like, just fun and, like, just a nice, like, classic, I guess it's kind of a romantasy. I don't understand the two different genres, but you know what I mean. Just a classic fantasy with romance in it. It was written in I don't know if it was written in 2015, but it's in that, like, golden era for me of, like, usually I like the books that came out around that time, but so I'm really enjoying it, and that is the first book I'm reading for this video. And then once I finish it, we will pick another one and kind of start going through. But also kind of what I'm gonna do is, I feel like this is a good excuse for me to look through my TBR and, like, clean them off, because obviously my reading tastes have changed. Like, I added this in 2015. I think I've had my Goodreads account obviously at least for 10 years, but probably longer, definitely longer, like 2012, 2013, 2011, like that, a really long time. So obviously there's probably a lot of stuff on there that I'm not interested in reading anymore, just because my reading tastes have changed. So it'll give me a nice excuse to look at the list in different ways and, like, clean stuff off that I might have just, like, overlooked, or pick up a book that I might have overlooked. Like this book I just kept overlooking. It's been on my list for 10 years. So that is this reading vlog. So I hope you guys enjoy this journey, and I will come back. Hopefully next update I have for you, I will have finished the book. This is a pretty fast read, so I feel like it will. So okay, it's a few days later and I finished The Wrath and the Dawn. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. I really enjoyed it. I didn't give it 5 stars because there were some points where I feel like I was, like, confused. I also saved my 5 stars for, like, things that I, like, really love, like / would reread sort of thing. And well, I thought this was really enjoyable, and I already started the second one. I don't know if I'd, like, reread it, you know? First book, success. I'm happy that it was 4 out of 5 stars because I think my average rating for this year is only, like, 3 stars. Like, I've just read a lot of flops this year for some reason, so I'm excited to get one a little bit higher in there. Classic enemies to lovers, hate to love story thing. Just like I said, I talked about this book a lot already, like, in the beginning, and I obviously, like, I don't want to spoil it for people who want to read it. If you like enemies to lovers, like, classic fantasy, definitely give this one a try. Like, it gave me everything it said it was gonna give me, you know? I'm very happy. Already started the second one. I'm very excited to see where it goes. It's a duology, which is exciting because it's not like a long series. I have a lot of series that I am trying to work through right now. Also, I feel like I don't read enough books, like, from, I know it's like a fantasy world, but it's very much inspired by, like, obviously Middle Eastern, like, stories, because, like, 1001 Nights, Arabian Nights, which I think I was saying 1,000 nights in the last clip. It's 1001 Nights. I feel like I don't read enough literature, like, inspired by that part of the world, or, like, based in that part of the world or set in that part of the world. So it was really fun to branch out and read, like, a fantasy book inspired by something from that part of the world, you know? Like, I had a really good time. Definitely want to continue to expand my horizons a little bit in that way. But so I finished that one, and then the next oldest book on my TBR is The Fever Code by James Dashner. This, I believe I had, of course my phone's over there when I'm doing this, but I believe I added this as want to read in 2015 as well. And it's the last book in the series. for me, because I've read obviously the trilogy and then I've read the Kill Order. This is a prequel and it has all of our characters that we love. It's got Thomas and Teresa and Newt and Minho and Albie and Chuck. Like, it's got everybody. It's super exciting to be with these characters again and be in this world, but it is definitely destroying me because it's them in the Wicked facility and them building the maze. It's like the story of like them growing up in their like childhoods like as kind of property of Wicked. And it's very heartbreaking, especially knowing how the series ends, which characters make it, which characters don't make it. This was really the first book series, trilogy, whatever you want to call it, that I kind of like found on my own and loved. So this is a very important part of my lore. It's very important to me. I cannot believe it took me so long to read this because I've had this on my shelf forever and I like remember when it came out and I'm like, it really could not have been that many years ago. But it was, which is kind of crazy. I'm really enjoying it. I'm on page 136. I'm about a third of the way through it. You can see where my bookmark is. I've got this much left. So I'm flying through this. These books always read super fast for me, like the Maze Runner series. I just eat these up. I think I flew through the whole series in a week when I read it. This was the next one I picked. This has been on my TBR, obviously, like I said, for a very long time. And I just kind of saw it on my shelf and I was like, you know what? I could go for some Maze Runner. I could do it. And this was a very good choice because I'm loving it. It's probably going to be a 5-star for me because this whole series is just a 5-star for me because it is so near and dear to my heart. But I'm really glad that I am doing this video and doing this little like challenge and cleaning off my TBR because there's so many books that I've been meaning to get to that I just have not gotten to because life has gotten in the way. I have said that so much in this vlog, but especially like with reading this book, I'm like, I just cannot believe I haven't read this sooner. Like, I'm like, really, dude? I'm gonna spend most of today reading. I'm fighting off a migraine. I had a migraine yesterday and I took medicine for it and I can't take any more medicine until a certain amount of time elapses and I still have a headache. So I'm just drinking caffeine because caffeine is supposed to help, or so they tell me, and I am just going to chill in my bed and read this and maybe finish it. Definitely at least get another third of the way through, so I'll only have a third left, but I feel like I could finish this today. But I'm so excited. It's like part of me doesn't want to finish it because I don't want this world to be over, but I'm also like, because it's a prequel, like it already kind of is over anyways. This is just some background. I love when authors do stuff like this, like when they do little like spin-offs or like prequels and like expand stories on different characters and just add more lore. It's so much fun. Cassandra Clare does this too with like the Shadowhunters universe and I eat it up every time. I think it is so fun and it's so nice sometimes to just dive back into a world and characters that you already know. Like, it's so relaxing because sometimes you don't want to start like a whole another series, but I'm very excited. Also, this paperback is so floppy, so every time I pick it up it just brings me a lot of joy. It reminds me why I love paperback books so much, honestly. But I'm gonna get to reading this and I will see you guys probably when I'm done with this is the next time I'll update. I also just realized I matched my outfit and I didn't do that on purpose. I just threw this sweater on, but we're kind of on theme. So I'll see you guys when I finish this book. Alright y'all, welcome back to my vlog. I finished The Fever Code by James Dashner. I gave it 5 out of 5 stars, which I knew I would because this whole series, they're all 5 stars for me because it is just such an important part of my lore. It's such an important series to me personally. I just think this is objectively a really good book. First of all, his writing, so easy to read. It doesn't take a lot of brain power, but then it's also like interesting, like you're not bored, you know what I mean? I also love the characters and just like the concept in general. And it's just that classic like YA dystopian that we all know and love, especially if you are like my age and in my age group. Okay, spoiler warning enacted now because I don't know how to talk about this without spoiling. So first of all, the fact that Newt and Sonia / Lizzie were brother and sister literally broke my heart. Like, I'm glad they got that last hug before they went into the maze because they literally never see each other again. Well, they do see each other again, but they literally forget each other and they never remember that they're siblings. And I think that is so tragic because Newt dies forgetting about his sister and his sister forgetting about him, and they like loved each other so much. I just think that is so tragic and sad, and it adds just such a like an extra layer to the story and to just Newt's character. And like, I love Newt. Who doesn't love Newt? Like, he's like a fan favorite. But that really hurt me. Also, the fact that, like, we knew that they were friends because obviously Thomas, like, is like, I want to save my friends, right? But we didn't really know in what way and like how that looked before the maze. So seeing like him become friends with, like, him and Teresa, their relationship develop, and then him become friends with Minho and Albie, rip, and Newt, rip, and Teresa, rip, but seeing them, and Chuck, oh, I can't even, but seeing, rip, oh my god, they're all, stop, I can't, but seeing them all become friends, like, in the Wicked facility, and like sneak out to see each other and like have little meetings, and like that is like their like happy place within like this terrible world and place. It was so happy but also like sad, because it was like I was happy to get more of them and like that they got like more time together, you know, than we thought, but also like it's so sad because, you know, like over half of those characters die, and like they all like talk about and dream about like a world where they can, you know, be together and like live together and like celebrate holidays and birthdays, and like they don't really get that. I mean, they do at the end, but it's only like Thomas and Minho, so it's like so sad because you're just thinking the whole time about like how everybody dies. Like, oh my god, it's just so, it just adds a whole extra layer of just tragedy to it, and it was like simultaneously heartbreaking but also like heartwarming, only because it's like so nostalgic for me. Also seeing like all the like torture they went through in the Wicked like facility, like how their memories were wiped, and how like especially Minho was like tortured by the grievers for like trying to escape, and like it's just so sad to see like how much they suffered, and then like to see some of those characters that, you know, just like suffer until the end, you know, especially like they would keep saying like Newt's not immune. Like, I guess it's kind of foreshadowing because like obviously we know that he gets infected with the flare and dies, but it's like they're like, oh, like Thomas is like, Newt's my favorite, and I'm like, dog, because you know that he dies, and it's so tragic. Also, Chuck's death was so tragic in the original, like in the first Maze Runner book, even without all the prequels, but seeing that extra layer that like Chuck was always like a little brother to Thomas, and like even before like the maze, because that's the relationship they have once they're in the maze, but like to see that like that was a relationship they had from the first second they met, and like they just like had that same relationship again even though neither of them had memories. It's like, first of all, beautiful that they still love each other that much, but also just like tragic because it's like he like just wants to protect Chuck and his friends, and like when Chuck gets sent into the maze, that's like what really pushes Thomas over the edge. He just wanted to protect his friends, and like none of them make it except Minho, and that is so upsetting and so tragic. And especially Newt and Chuck, because Newt and Chuck were his favorites, so it's like that's just so sad. Also, I'm a little confused. So Teresa, did she have all of her memories? Because at the end there is the letter that says where Teresa, that's like from Teresa, but also like it could be from Chancellor or Page, Dr. Page, whatever, you know, because she did send that letter from Thomas, and it is very similar language and like a setup, so I'm like, I could see her just sending that from Teresa's point of view and pretending that it was actually Teresa that said it, but they sadly do not tell us that, so people are just speculating, and I guess we'll never know because this book came out a while ago. Because when she goes in the maze, like, she doesn't have all of her memories, but she like knows her name right away, and she also like has some memories, so I'm like, did they even wipe her memories? Like, was that acting? But then she also opts to get her memories back, so I'm like, she clearly could not have been faking, so I'm like, did they just not wipe as many memories? Did they, I'm unclear. I'm like, did Teresa betray Thomas twice, or was that just like Chancellor Page like lying? So I'm not really sure, and I like I looked this up, and other people are just like speculating, like nobody really knows for sure. I think most likely it was probably Chancellor Page sent that email from Teresa and pretended it was from Teresa and actually like wiped her memories. That's what I think most likely is what happened. Also the fact that Dr. Page infected all of the like the original Chancellor and his like group of people with the flare because he wanted to end the maze trials because he knew they weren't going to work, He's like, we're not gonna be able to find a cure. Like, I don't even think there is a cure. Like, let's just let the munies, which is the people who are immune, have the earth. Like, this is wrong that we're doing this to kids. Like, so it's sad because they were actually trying to stick up for the maze people, and then Dr. Page injected them, made them catch the flare, and then made like Thomas and Teresa, Rachel and Eris like kill the people who were trying to protect them. I think that is so messed up and so sad, but it's also so in line with the evilness that is Dr./Chancellor Page, and also like just Wicked itself, because Wicked is just such an evil organization. So it is in line, like all of this lore makes sense. Like, that's one thing I love about this book too, is it's not like, it doesn't feel like, oh, they just added another book like to capitalize off the popularity. Like, this really was like, yeah, this all makes sense. Like, this all, like, everything kind of ties in. But I loved it. I am sad that it's like the series is over and the world is over now. I don't know why I waited 10 years to read it. Like, I think at first I was like, I don't want it to be over, and then I kind of like, not forgot about it, but it was kind of like out of my mind. But I'm really glad that I finally finished it, finally finished the series, because I'm trying, I think I've said this in this vlog before, but I'm trying to be better about reading the books I own and also reading the books that have been on my TBR for a long time. On a similar note, I did not include this book in this video because technically it was not on my like want to read at all, but I did end up reading The Rose and the Dagger, which is the second book in the Wrath and the Dawn duology. So it's the second and the last, which obviously that was the first book I read for this video because that had been on my want to read since 2015 as well. But I read that book. I ended up just going straight into the second one, and I gave that like 3.25 out of 5 stars. I think the first book was better because the first book is like very much, you get what you want, like it is what it is. But then the second book obviously tries to wrap up all the loose ends with like the war going on and all the other characters, and I don't think this book did it that well, honestly. I like the way it did it. It simultaneously felt slow for the whole book, but then the ending felt rushed, and I don't know how it managed to do that, but it did. Like, the first book I was like hooked and I was like, this is like, I'm enjoying this, and then the second book I was like, I'm kind of like bored. I really like the relationship between Shazi and Khalid. I really liked their relationship, and that's kind of why I kept reading the second book, because I was like, I really like their relationship and I think they're cute, but I didn't really care about the rest of the characters. Like, nothing made me care about them, and obviously that's not that surprising because the first book is so focused on those two characters that it's like, yeah, the other characters are like there, but not in a way where you like develop a like love for them or that you really care about them, at least not for me. Not that I didn't like the other characters, like I did, but I just didn't really have a huge opinion on them. The pacing was off. Like, I think the end should have been more stretched to the middle, and the beginning part should have been shorter, if that makes sense, because I just felt like at the beginning to the middle it was just like dragging on. But then the end, they like tried to shove so much stuff into like the last few chapters, and then you're like building up this whole war, and then the war doesn't really happen. I didn't like the way that they did that. I'm trying to say this in a way that isn't spoilery, but I didn't like the way that they handled that. I thought that it was like, it was giving like Disney DCOM at the end, like kind of like the way everything was just like rainbows and sunshine almost, you know? I think I would have rather had like an all-out war at the end. I think that would have made more sense for this book, but I did have a fun time reading it. So like overall, like it was an enjoyable experience. I just thought the first book was better than the second book. I was not planning on reading that book for this video. That's why I didn't talk about it before I started it, but then it was like available at the library and I was like, I might as well just keep going. Like, because I kind of wanted to know what happened, so I was like, I might as well just keep going, especially since it was a duology, which I love a good duology, honestly. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you guys enjoyed this little reading vlog for me, reading the oldest books on my TBR, which I'm definitely going to be doing more like reading TBR cleaning like vlog sort of thing like this, because I am making it into a game to make it fun for me. Not that it's not fun, but you know what I mean. So if you have any ideas for any like TBR games you want to see me play, or like any ways you want me to like pick, let me know. If you are not subscribed already, be sure to do so. It makes me very happy, helps my channel out a lot. Give this video a thumbs up down below if you enjoyed, and I will see you guys later with another video. Later, gators. Bye.